In this video, I'll be showing you how to enter procedure and diagnosis codes in NowMD. You'll see that I'm in the Settings and More Center. Let's click Procedure Codes to bring up the list of procedure codes that are currently set up in this database. First of all, procedure codes are used for billing anything that a practice bills. That is including professional services. It can include products that are sold by the practice. Anything that is billed out has to be entered as a procedure or a product code. Let's look at this procedure code in the list, 99202. Let me explain each field in the procedure code entry and what it's used for. The first code at the top of the window, this is the system code for this procedure. Now there are two codes that are used for each procedure. One is the code that's used to enter this procedure in an encounter in NowMD. The other code is the billing procedure code that's used to bill insurance for this procedure. So the system code can be any code you'd like, numbers, letters, anything. The billing procedure code needs to be the CPT code that will be used in billing. So what that means is you can have the same CPT code used for a number of procedure codes in NowMD. So the in-office code, also called the lookup code, is this one. So you can have as many lookup codes as you want that use the same CPT code. In this drop-down list, you can check the type of code this is, whether it's a service charge, an inside lab, mammography, product, other, or comment. Normally, you'll be entering procedure codes that are services. In this area, you enter the description of the code. This is the description that will be used to search for this procedure in NowMD's database. You already know what the billing procedure code is. This is used on insurance claims, both paper and electronic, for billing this code. You have for this procedure up to 4 default modifiers. If default modifiers are entered for this procedure, when this code is used, the lookup code is entered in encounter entry, those 4 modifiers, up to 4, will display in the encounter. This field is used for the cost. NowMD can produce a profit report on a procedure code. So if you can put the cost in there, for example, for a product that is sold, you'll see that in the profit analysis. This field is the price. When this procedure is performed, this is what is charged in NowMD. NowMD can also calculate sales tax. So the percentage of sales tax is entered for each procedure for which sales tax needs to be calculated. Here is the basis for measurement. It can be units or minutes. These checkboxes, first this one requires copay. If this is a primary procedure that is normally applicable to a copay in a patient's insurance plan, checking requires copay, then uses the default copayment amount from the patient's insurance coverage that's entered in the patient record. The next 2 fields, do not bill to insurance or do not bill to patient, prevents this procedure from appearing on an insurance claim or a patient statement. In this other section, this is a user-defined category for the procedure. You can add categories to this list or choose one of the categories that's listed here. The subcategory is just a typed description. NowMD has the ability to scan a barcode, for example, on items that are sold by a practice, to enter that item in the encounter. So you can scan the UPC code on a product, for example, and have that service line entered. The next field, pop-up message. This is a message that displays when this procedure is entered for an encounter. NowMD also has the ability to do billing for provider-administered drug therapy. So the national drug code goes here, the unit count and the basis of measurement goes here. So NowMD can bill NDC codes in electronic and paper claims. Let's click Save to save this procedure code. Next, let's look at diagnosis codes. We'll close this window and click here to open the diagnosis code list. So you can see here, let's double click one of these diagnoses. A diagnosis is very simple. You can use an ICD-9 or ICD-10 code for a diagnosis. Here's where the description goes. You can categorize this diagnosis. This is purely for reporting, has nothing to do with insurance or patient billing, and also enter a subcategory. This checkbox here is to check this diagnosis code to say this is an ICD-10 code. The purpose of defining which diagnoses are an ICD-10 code is when ICD-10 becomes mandatory, you can control which diagnoses will be displayed in NowMD with a search. So let me show you that control. We'll save this code, close the diagnosis list, and then click Use ICD-10 Codes Only. This is the ICD-10 control in NowMD. Once the ICD-10 mandatory date arrives and passes, you can check this box to show only ICD-10 diagnosis codes in a diagnosis code search. If you need to continue to use ICD-9 codes when billing after the ICD-10 deadline, you can still directly enter the ICD-9 code. You can't, however, find it in a diagnosis code search.